Hi, welcome. I'm Dr. M. Kamakshaya, open source software evangelist. I'm also a freelance full stack developer. I do creating full stack applications is my passion, and I do this in order to help my students as well as few corporate clients. Just recently, I encountered a small problem that is a simple problem while printing Python dictionary in HTML templates. There are quite a few online tutorials, video demonstrations regarding dealing with dictionaries inside Python, but they were not helpful for me to solve my problem while taking dictionaries from Python to HTML, browser. The problem was mainly due to a simple fact that printing dictionaries in Python is not straightforward. We need to have some certain deep knowledge in dealing with the keys and values. A dictionary is the collection of the keys and values. Together we refer to items, which means a dictionary has items, and these items are two. There are two types of items, and the first one is the key, and the second one is the value. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to take the dictionary from Python app to HTML template, and that we do while creating an application for a particular area of operation called quiz. Okay. To talk shortly about a quiz. Quiz is a short-term multiple choice, a short-term brief evaluation technique in training and academics. Most of the time, the quizzes involves multiple choice based questions. We call MCQ something like multiple choice questions, and there'll be a number of questions, and the participants need to choose the options in order to evaluate whether their answers are correct or not. This is precisely the quiz system, and I'm going to show you how to develop a small quiz, a portable quiz. I simply call it as a smart quiz system. I'm going to show you how to create this smart quiz system by using a very handy and highly popular web framework known as Flask inside Python. It is also known as the micro framework because it is very simple to develop the web applications. Now I'm going to call it as smart quiz, and in this we need to create a folder for templates because I'm going to keep my HTML pages inside, because I'm assuming that you know basics of web development, most importantly using Python. There are quite a few web frameworks available for Python community, and we need to create an app. This is a server. This file is going to have the server logic, and now I'm going to open this using Atom. Open this folder using Atom because I prefer Atom to develop web applications. And Atom opens your previous project. So let me open by default, whenever you open the Atom, I'm going to open the new window so that I can get rid of my previous project. And now you can just simply close all these. Atom will simply drag this folder. Where do we have this folder? Let us go back to how to go back. Okay, I think I have this here on my, just to drag this folder so that now open this server file, app, your app from Flask import. I'm again telling you, I assume that you know the basics of web development, especially using Flask. Flask, and I need a few other functions, render template, and also request, because I'm going to move the inputs and outputs to and fro between the HTML templates, my templates folder, to the app, to my logic, and from my logic to. So initialize the app, by writing flask name. This is how we define the application. Now I'm going to create a route, app route. This is just a URL for browser. So we are going to use this here. This is just going to be like this. So wherever we write http colon / 127.0.0.1, which means localhost, and Flask is going to open the server on this address. This is the address where we need to browse this application, and this is what is the route. So I'm going to define the address for this local host, something like this. Okay, let me close this, delete this. Now I need to add logic to this route. I'm going to define a function, a Python function. That is how we are going to define logic to this route, okay, to this address. Whenever the users goes to this address, they need to have some tasks to do. So that is what we are going to define inside. I'm just going to return a template, render template, and I call it as index. This is basically is going to be HTML file. Okay, now we need to end the application by adding this statement: if name is equal to main, and run the app run, and I'm going to open this app in debug mode. So I need to add this statement: debug is equal to true, in order to make it a bit flexible while working with this app. Now since I defined a HTML file here, I need to create this HTML file, index.html. and now in this HTML file, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to divert my data. So what is that data? Imagine that we are going to have, my data is going to be, I'm going to define a dictionary. This is what is the purpose of creating this demonstration, because I would like to explain you how to take the keys and values of a dictionary from Python to HTML, your front end, and from the inputs from the front end to the back end, which means Python app. Now I'm going to create a small quiz system. It is called a smartQuiz system, and I'm just going to define few questions with options. Question 1, and this question 1 again is going to have options. Each question again is going to have a dictionary, and in this dictionary we are just going to define options. This is going to be option 1, and then I just copy this so that it is easy for me. I am going to define 4 options as usual. Most of the cases we are going to have 4 options. This is going to be 2, option 3, option 4, something like the last option we don't need. And we are going to repeat this. I'm planning to have some 5 questions. I'm sorry, I think something went wrong here. Now this is question 1, and this is question 2, question 3, and question 4. I think we need one more question. Question 5. And now the problem is I don't have the backend database. Actually this data should come from the database, and that database we are just going to, usually in smart quizzes what happens, there will be 2 different logins, one for faculty, one for students, and the faculty creates the questions, and these as and when the faculty creates the questions, these questions goes to the database, and from the database we access these questions. The other way is we can give a login to faculty members to upload the questions, maybe through an Excel spreadsheet application. Now what happens whenever some faculty member uploads the questions through Excel file, and this Excel file will be converted into the dictionary. So here you just have to imagine, because I'm not going to do all the, my video is going to be a bit lengthy if I start doing all those things. I just wanted to keep my video demonstration as short as possible. That is why I'm just creating this dictionary manually inside the application. But this is not how smart quizzes. This is just a kind of a proof of concept for an application. But we will discuss about all those things in my forthcoming videos. Okay, for time being, you just have to imagine that this data is either coming from a database or from an Excel file through an upload. Okay, we have 5 questions, and each question has got some options, and this entire list of questions is a dictionary, and each question is again a dictionary in itself. Now we are just going to access these dictionaries inside. Now what I'm going to do, questions, I call questions, is going to be this data. Okay, this data. um, I don't know what happened to this data. And now these questions I'm just going to push into my HTML template. Questions, let me say questions is equal to questions. And now this dictionary data is now available through this name QNS, and this QNS is again a dictionary, which, because this is equal to this dictionary, now that is going to, and again this QNS is converted as questions, and these questions are going to this index. Now here the entire gimmick happens. Now what we need to do, we have to find a solution. Now let me just print these questions. Let me show you how to get this. I'm using Jinja templating system, where whenever we are getting some data from the server file to the front end, and that is going to be a variable. Now the questions, though we have different ingredients inside this question, the question as it is a variable, and now whenever we are accessing a variable from the server file from our logic backend, and this is how we need to denote. You need to know some all these things through a particular topic called Jinja templating. That is how Jinja works, and you just have to go online and study what is Jinja and how to use Jinja in your front end. Okay, now I'll stop here and let me go back to the folder, and then I'm going to start this server. Python app, yes. If everything is okay, then the server should start. Now let us go to the browser, and 127, this is the address of the server. Now you see we are able to get the data, but this is not how it should look like. We need to have a particular way of visualization, which means each question should have a separate options, the list of options, like option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, something like that. Here this is what I would like to talk more. I would like to bring more emphasis on this part of the topic, because there are a lot of online demonstrations, but all of them, there is no brief demonstration which describes in detail as how to get the keys and values, particularly arranging in a fashion so as that looks like a quiz. Okay, now what I am going to do, I just go back to my template, and here I am going to make use of a loop, that is for loop in Jinja. This is how we are going to use loop. It is as usual as we do that in Python. Now for item, which means in short I, in questions, now let us print the question, each question. Okay, or let me say for question, in questions, print me the question. So now let's say whenever we open the Python, the Jinja loop, we need to end the loop. For the matter, in every programming language, we need to, whenever we open the for loop, we have to. Now let's see what's going to happen in the browser. You see we got the question 1, question 2, question 3, something like that. So it is possible for us to get the keys. Now what are these? Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. These are simply the keys of the dictionary known with the name data. So these are the keys, and each key has got a dictionary inside. And again, in this, each question is a dictionary, and in that there are keys and values. Now we are going to get these values under each question, and we need to find out a strategy as how to get them here. Okay, now if I use the HTML tag break, and now we are going to break each question in this way. I think yeah, my server is running. You see, now we need to find a way to get the option just below each question. Okay, now these options are there inside this queue, and suppose if I use QI, and now let's see what's going to happen, and I use a break tag. Now let us go back. Nothing is going to happen. Now why that is happening? Because in questions, I think it is not a question, it should be questions. In each question, let's see what's going to happen. Nothing is happening. That is because questions Q, I'm sorry, it should be Q. Okay, it's fine. Now you see, under each question we successfully got our options, but this is not how it should look like. We need to print each option without a key. We are going to convert the key as an answer. We are just going to make use of the key for each option as an answer, and option together with a response tag. I'm going to use a checkbox. How are we going to do that? I'm going to convert this. I need to use one more for loop, because for something in questions queue, do that kind of thing. For maybe the item inside in questions queue, because inside the queue we have this data. Print the I. Okay, and now let's go back to the browser and see what's going to happen. Oh, we did not end for loop. We have to end that here. Oh, for loop and for, and now let's go back to the browser and see what's happening. Yes, but we failed to get the name of the item, because the name of the item is there inside. We got the answers. We don't want the answers, actually. We want questions Q, and here I. This is the I is there inside the. I don't know how you are feeling, but there is a logic in my flow. For each question in questions, print the question. That is how we print the questions here. And now inside each question there are items, like option. This I is option. Each I is option. Whenever I change, then the option number also going to change. For I in these options, print the options. So question, for each question print the values, and the values are going to iterate like this: option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, something like that. Now everything is ready. We are okay. Now I'm going to add an input tag. This is what is not available online. So I am struggling for a couple of days in order to figure out this particular aspect. I'm going to make checkbox, not the radio button, because there is an issue with the radio buttons. You cannot go for the multiple select option. Now you got the radio buttons. Okay, now everything is okay. Only thing is that we need to get this data back to. So I'm going to put everything inside a form, because we are going to submit, and I'm going to display the results, and I'm going to create a route for that called as results or result. Now I'll put entire my logic, Jinja logic, inside this form, and finally I come here, make a submit button. This is going to be submit, value is going to be submit. Now I forgot to put one thing. This value is going to be I. Okay, because we are just going to get the number of the option. and number of the option earlier you would have seen when I put this I there, we got 1 2 3 4, something like that. No, without an options. If you are confusing, let me show you that. You got the submit. Let's go to the view page source. You see you got 1 2 3 4. So whenever the user check a checkbox, that particular value we are just going back, because if the strategy for behind this particular scheme is that whenever we get the value, it is easy to manipulate the values. We can add, subtract, multiply kind of things. We are just going to enumerate all these values. If this is a number, then it is easy for me to make the enumerations and say how many of the questions, how many of the answers are really accurate and how many of them not inaccurate, and I can produce the result from the same kind. That is what is the idea behind using I here. This is just going to be a number. Okay, now we need to figure out a way as how to get these values back to the server, I mean our logic. Now for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another route, and this route is going to be result app route. I'm sorry, my keyboard is not good. This is result. You see, this result is nothing but this result, so you should be very, and we need to give a name here. I choose answer because we need to make use of this. Now I'm going to add logic by defining a function. I call it as result with the same name. Now our logic is going to, we need to have a design as how to get these values back to the server file. Now we have a particular way in Python to make this. We need to define the methods, which method we are going to use in order to get this data from HTML file. There are two types of methods, get and post. The post method is suitable in order to get the data from, because we are just going to post here. Whenever we make some response and submit, we are posting data to the server. So we need to make use of this post response in our logic. And now if request, this request is this one. So you should be, this is a function in Flask. The Flask function. If request method is going to be post. Sorry, my keyboard is not good. This is a very old and antique material. If request method is post, then make the answers are going to be request form and then answer. Is this answer or answers? Answer. Okay. Now what are we going to do with that answer? We have correct answers. Okay, we call it as result. I call res, because result I can make use later. And there are correct answers, and the answers are going to be, for time being, let us define our correct answers are like this, which means for question number 1 the right answer is 1, question number 2 right answer is 2, question number 3 right answer is 3, question number 4 right answer is 4, something like that. Now if our responses, if I comma j, this is actually okay. Let me not confuse you. Let us take these results and print them into this route results, and later we'll go for the enumeration. Now return render template, I call it as result. We need to create a HTML file for this, HTML result HTML. Now redirect this result into that HTML template. Now what are we going to, result is equal to res. This is how we are going to redirect this res. This res is the answers that were submitted by the users here in this template index. So whenever these answers are submitted, now this, we need to create the route for this. First let us create the file result.html, and now let us go here, and this is just a variable, and this is how we use Jinja code to get that variable from this server file. What is the variable? Res. So in result we just have to put the res, and this is anyway is going to be the, I think I did a mistake in app because this is get list, because we are going to get the list of the items, not the raw value from the HTML template. Now I think everything is okay. Now let's go back. Yeah, my server stopped. Yeah, now it started. Let's go back and let me refresh this. Now let me choose 1, 2, 3, 4. Submit. Oh, nothing happened. Result. Let us come back. This result. So let's result. HTML RUSULT result. RUSULT result. And now let's go to the result, and this is going to be res. It's not res, I guess. It is result. Sorry. This is not res. It is result. Now let's go back and refresh our page. Yes, we got the answers. Now let us, as a matter of change, let me change 2, 2, and this is 3, and this is not 4 but 3. Now let me, you see 2, 2, 3, 3, something like that. Now okay, we got the answers, but we don't know whether they are, what is the result, how many of them are correct, how many of them are incorrect. We don't need to enumerate how many of them are incorrect. We just have to, it is sufficient to count how many of them are correct. And for that, what I'm going to do, I just these are the true answers. Let us imagine that the option 1 is right answer for the question 1, answer 2 is the right answer for the question 2, answer 3 is the right answer for the question 3, and so forth, like that, and so on, like that. Now if I comma j, this is a bit I am going to use a bit of logic here in order to compare this each item in res with the item in answers. For I and j in zip res comma answers, then if I is equal to j, it is going to be int res. I is in res, right? If int I is going to be equal to j, then we're going to make a counter. That counter is going to be 0. I'm going to initialize that counter. cnt plus is equal to cnt. Now come here and redirect, use that cnt inside a list, so that we have two things here, result, two things inside the result. There is res, there is cnt. Okay, now if you are not understanding this particular logic, you need to go online and search for a particular mechanism as how to print items inside two different lists together using for and if. I'm sorry, this is for, I'm confusing. For I comma j in res and answers, if int why I use int I, because whenever we submit the answer here, this is not going to be the integer, it is going to be the string. And so if we are going to convert each I inside this res into integer, and then we compare with the integer inside the answer, and then we rise the count to the next level, and then we supply that. If everything is okay, we should be able to, I refresh, it's gone down. I dot, it is not dot, is it dot? It is comma. I comma, for I comma, yes, for I, it is not if actually. I did if previously and then I changed it to for. Now I think everything should work properly. Now go to the refresh the server. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, submit. You got logic is not working actually. We got the answers 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not able to compare. I don't know why. Let's go back. Counter is equal to 0 for I zip rest and answer. If int I is equal to 0, increase the count is 0. Now that was because of I used count is a plus is equal to count plus 1, and that was not working. I don't know why. It should work, but so okay, this is how you need to raise the count. And now I printed count, and it is going on 1 2 3 4 something like that. So I don't want to print count, so I'll just delete. Now you can, my server is running. Go back to now 1 2 3 4, submit. You see you got 1 2 3 4 and 4 questions answered correctly. Now let's go back, change this time 1 1 and 2 and 4. Now 1 1 2 4, only 2 questions, which means first one and last one is correct. Now we'll change 1 2, this time 4, and this time 2, and let's yeah, you got 1 2, I think 1 2 we have given 1 2 4 1 2, incorrect. 1 2 4 1 2, yeah, 1 2, there are 5 questions, right? 2 is correct. Now we can also design this template. This is just a proof of concept and for developers, and you can make use of this demonstration in order to design your smart quizzes. I'm just going to decorate my result page. This is not looking good. What I do, I just make a div. You don't need to do this. There are 2 ingredients inside this result. They are right set of questions, right questions, and also number of answers correct, something like that. So I'm just going to make use of the answer p tag, just simple p tag, correct answers or options, whatever it is. Okay, result, is it results or result? I don't know. Result, and that is going to be 0 index. In 0 you have that. And now again another paragraph tag, result, I mean number of correct answers is going to be result 1. I do a lot of spelling mistakes. Now let's go back and now submit this time. Correct answers, no, they're not correct answers, actual answers. And the actual answers 1 2 4 1 2, and the result is 2, which means 2. I can also say only 2 of 2 answer 2 questions answered correctly. Okay, something like that. Okay, don't let us not worry about. I think I'm trying to be silly. 2 questions, only 2 questions answered correctly, or something like that. Okay, so this is what I would like to show you. The main purpose of this video is to demonstrate as how to make use of the dictionaries inside I mean web applications, I mean Python web applications, because it was very difficult for me to arrange this pattern, bring this pattern in the HTML page. That was because of the complexity involved in processing the dictionaries inside the Python. Okay, thanks for watching this video. If you like my button, please press like, and don't forget to subscribe to my video channel. Stay tuned for the new content. Thanks again for watching this video.